What's up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? Boogie298 coming at you live once again through the power of the internet. And me and my wife just got back from Batman vs. Superman, and a lot of people asked me to do a review, so I'm going to do that today. The first half of this review will be spoiler-free. You see the little bat symbol here? The little Batman vs. Superman symbol. When I am talking spoiler-free, I'm going to make sure it's on this side of the screen. Before I ever mention a spoiler and go to the second half, I'll warn you that it's going into spoiler territory, and I'll move this over so you don't have to worry about getting spoiled. So let's talk spoiler-free for a minute. Does this movie deserve a 30%? Well, it depends on who you ask, because me and my wife both saw the same movie, and I think we have vastly different opinions. My wife was very, very disappointed in this film. She's a lifelong Batman fan, watching the animated series growing up, watching all of the movies as she's gotten older. Huge fan of the Dark Knight series. Not a fan of this movie. Not for any particular reason, plot-oriented, just simply because of the movie not being that great in a lot of the things that they try to do. I thought it was a decent popcorn film. It wasn't as deep as I wanted it to be. It wasn't as, as emotional as I wanted it to be. It just kind of was very actiony. I think it's easy to compare this film to Man of Steel. Like, if you watched Man of Steel and you, really, really enjoyed the 40-minute fight scene in Man of Steel, you'll really enjoy this movie, too. It does try to be deeper than Man of Steel. It's not that successful at it. But, I mean, the actors are decent, for sure. The script is lacking in a few areas, for sure, certain, but what's in there is decent. The set design, the CGI, all looks incredible. It does. And the fight scenes in it are incredibly action-packed and interesting. They didn't do as good a job as I would have liked in developing things or stories or characters. And I think that is the sticking point that really is frustrating for my wife, and I think that's really frustrating for me. Another thing I want to say is that a lot of people are saying, well, if you've seen the trailer, you've seen the whole movie. If you've seen the trailer, you've seen the whole movie. That is not true, actually. There is some decent surprises in this film, even if you've seen that third trailer, the one that literally shows you like 80% of the movie or 90% of the movie, there are still little bits and pieces there. And I always say that even if you get a movie spoiled for you the way they did with that trailer, and that trailer is a huge mistake, by the way. I don't know why they did that. But even if you saw that trailer, the way that it's put together is still very interesting to me. I don't think this is a movie that you need to rush out and see in the theater, though. Like, even if you know the spoilers, the last 20%, it really doesn't change the movie at all. Like, it's pretty predictable for the most part. And it does a good job of what it's supposed to do, which is kind of a minor spoiler. But I guess if you've seen the trailer, you probably know that they're setting up for the next film. That's all I'll say. They're just setting up for the next film, and it does a good job of doing that. So, should you see this movie? Probably. If you're a Superman fan, maybe if you're a Batman fan, definitely if you're a Wonder Woman fan, because it's the first time to see her on screen in a really, really long time. It's not great. That's the thing. It's not great. It's not something that you have to rush out and see. The critics, I guess if you view it the way the critics do, which is they're expecting something great, you're not going to enjoy it here. If you're expecting something great, that's not the case. Go in with lowered expectations, and you might be pleasantly surprised. Everybody that I saw the movie with, though, was disappointed. I was the only person that thought it was okay. Everybody else was relatively frustrated, so take that into consideration. And now that said, let's get into the spoiler section. Here we go. Spoilers coming in 5, 4, 3. No, spoilers. That's fun. It's fun to do. Okay, so why did the movie do so badly? A lot of people are going to say Batfleck, right? A lot of people are going to say it's Ben Affleck's fault. It is not Ben Affleck's fault. I truly believe that he gave a very good performance. For whatever reason, that good performance did not make it to the screen. They did not develop Batman's character at all, which is a very big shame, because they should have. Now, they show little tidbits, right? They show stuff like, and again, huge spoilers. This is all spoilers now. It's straight up spoilers, so you need to know if you're watching past this point, you're getting spoiled, okay? They show stuff like the Gotham Manor in ruins, and they show the suit that's been spray painted by Joker, and they allude to Batman's mental state. But if you don't know that beforehand going into the movie, if you don't know what stage of Batman's life this is taking place in, you won't really understand why Batman has undergone these drastic changes. And the imagery that they try to evoke to try to communicate that is the imagery we've all seen so many times. I have seen Batman's parents die 20 times in my lifetime now. It evokes no emotion in me whatsoever. It's just as cliche and petty and boring. I've seen him fall down the well. I've seen all of this stuff over and over and over again. Retreading that water does not evoke anything for me. Might still for you, but it doesn't for me. I want you to tell me the story of Batman from a different perspective. And this is what they should have done, because this is a different Batman in a different point of his life. A point where he's not afraid to kill somebody, which he clearly does. Like in this film, he blows up a lot of vehicles with people in them. People die, and he does not give two shits anymore. The Batman that they were supposed to portray in this film is an exhausted, loose cannon Batman that is just fucking miserable after watching everybody he loves and everything he loves die. They kind of do it when the Wayne building is coming down in Gotham City. That is phenomenal. The way they do that is great. It does evoke some emotion. It does a better job. I wanted more of that and less of the well, less of the parents dying, less of that bullshit. Superman, as always, just comes across as a blank slate. And maybe part of it's the character, maybe part of it's the actor, maybe it's part of the script. But in this film, again, he comes across as relatively emotionless. He did a good job of showing some emotion in Man of Steel. Does not do a very good job here. I think that it does not really fall on the actor as much as it does the script. And that's the problem with this film. The script is trying to do so much. And it achieves its primary goal, which is to set up the Justice League. Here's how the Justice League is formed. Now we're going to have a Justice League movie. Here we go. That's exciting. That's great. Wonder Woman just kind of shows up. She's like in the film for like 3 seconds. There's no room for Wonder Woman. Doomsday, which is one of the greatest villains in my history and with my experience with DC Comics, is kind of there for like 20 minutes. They kind of venomed him. You know, he could have been so much more important. He could have been so... I mean, he does what he's supposed to do, level cities and, you know, well, that's the biggest spoiler there is, right? What Doomsday does, right? And that's the part of the movie that actually won me over. That's the part of the movie that made me think, this movie is not bad, because it got me. I walked into that movie expecting to see Batman versus Superman. What I ended up seeing, even though I knew Doomsday was coming from the trailer, I did not really expect them to actually recreate the comic and recreate the death of Superman, which is a very emotional point for me. I've not read a lot of DC Comics, but obviously, as a child of the 80s and 90s, when the death of Superman happened, I rushed right out and grabbed the graphic novel and read it and bawled my eyes out. Holy shit. And Funeral for a Friend? My God, those are some of the best comics I've ever read in my life, right? But, and of course that emotion was re-evoked here. I don't know, if you've not read those comics, maybe it would not be as emotional for you. It was certainly not as emotional for the other people I saw the movie with. But for me, it got me pretty good. That was the part of the movie that got me right here. The burial of Clark Kent, the whole 9 yards. That was pretty good. I really hate the fact that Wonder Woman just kind of got thrown in there. And I really wish they had done way more developing her. I wish she just got her own movie. I really wish that they had done better showing me why Batman was the person that he was. I wish that they'd done more to show me Superman experiencing the emotion that he had to be experiencing. Like in the moment in the congressional hearing where everything goes wrong, he stands there and he's just kind of emotionless and motionless. He just kind of stands there afterwards, and then he goes on Walkabout, which is also relatively unemotional. It's so bizarre that they spent all of this money and all of this time to create this big, dramatic movie, and then it just kind of fails. And I hate to compare it to Marvel films, because I know DC World and Marvel are very realistically different. But I wish that they could do what they were doing with the Marvel Universe here. I know many people who love DC hate Marvel, and that's okay, you can do that. But what I'm saying is, they have taken individual characters and given them their individual movies, right? You know, they develop this character, then they develop this character, then they put those two characters together, and when they do that for the movie, or when they do it for all of them like the Avengers, you have this incredible amount of emotion. You know these characters, you love these characters, you know Iron Man, you know Captain America, you know Thor, you know the way they fit together. And there's so much comic relief in between the tragic moments and the intense moments and the emotional moments. They really failed to do this in this movie. I don't think there's a joke among them. Like, Lex Luthor kind of provides the comic relief. Lex Luthor's obviously Junior. And he doesn't... He kind of comes across as, like, maybe borderline Jokerish. But the final scene that shows Lex is actually... It's embarrassing. Like, it's cringeworthy. And I think that's, like, just a sign of where it went wrong. This movie looks like whoever's making the television shows got a big budget, and so they made the television show with a big budget, not a movie. You know, does that make any sense? I don't know. I mean, it wasn't terrible. It's a movie that every DC fan should see, every superhero comic fan should see. It's got its moments. The action scenes are just through the roof, over the top, incredible. But it lacks everything that a DC movie is known for. It lacks in character development. It lacks in emotion. It's so different from the Dark Knight series, which is what everybody wants from these movies. They want the Dark Knight with Superman. They want the Dark Knight with Wonder Woman. They want this incredible character development, these incredible emotions, these incredible feelings, and it's just not there. But as a popcorn flick, it's definitely functional. So that's my review. I think you should see it at some point. I don't think you have to see it opening weekend. I don't think you have to fight the lines. I think you can definitely wait. Maybe you'll see it on DVD. Maybe you'll rent it on your whatever, Redbox or Xbox or whatever, however you choose to rent movies. I'm curious as to what you thought. Am I wrong here? Am I mistaken in thinking it was a mediocre movie? Was it a great movie? Well, were my friends right? Was it a piece of garbage? I can't really say. But hopefully you can say, and hopefully you'll say in the comments section below. Guys, thanks for watching. I love you very much. I'll speak with you soon. I'm going to go argue with my wife more about the good points of this movie. Because I think she's probably right. She's always right. Happy wife, happy life.